Here's what's coming into view on Elevating Denver for May 2024. Travel back in time with Denver's Ice Core facility.
Holding ice in your hands and knowing that it's hundreds of thousands of years old.
With eviction filings on the rise, Denver offers relief.
Anyone can have a situation that they fall behind on their rent.
And take a stroll with the Wash Park Weenies.
It's just really low-key. You come and let your dogs hang out with each other.
These stories and more are just ahead on Elevating Denver.
There are residents from all walks of life, and we know that anyone can have a situation that they fall behind on their rent and may be struggling. And the opportunity to help support residents with assistance to keep them in their homes and their communities of choice is really critically important for the Denver that we all love. The Department of Housing Stability works really across the housing continuum. So from residents experiencing homelessness to renters to home ownership. So we partner with various organizations who bring resources to residents in need. And some of our programs are really innovative and have been some of the first in the nation to help residents stay in their homes, as well as gain home ownership opportunities and resolve episodes of homelessness. Denver has a city ordinance that requires landlords to provide a tenant rights and resource guide to tenants at the time that they're signing a lease, as well as if and when they're going to receive a rent demand. This document's really important because it explains tenants' rights as well as resources that may be available to them if they're behind on rent and facing a potential eviction. Last year, we started bringing resources to the city and county building. So Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., we bring free eviction legal services to the clinic. So if residents are facing eviction, it's near the eviction court. Residents can also work with those providers to get rent and utility assistance and connections to other resources.
The Community Economic Defense Project offers support to our legal arm, which is CD Law. We have a group of amazing team of attorneys that can, one, provide support for tenants facing eviction, and also folks who also need assistance through mortgage assistance. They have attorneys that are specialized in that.
So it's a really great resource and a great starting point for folks who don't know which resource to turn to. And there's so much information out there, and so it's great to have these organizations who are located in Denver, who know the landscape of the local ordinances and the state bills and laws that relate to tenant rights. In 2023, Denver saw nearly 13,000 eviction filings. That's the most Denver has seen in at least the last 15 years. And we're in 2024 already seeing a high number of eviction filings with nearly 4,000 in the first 3 months. And eviction can have really negative long-term impacts on households, potentially having a harder time finding housing in the future, possible homelessness, job loss, children having a difficult time going to school or having to change schools. Studies have also shown that evictions can have negative impacts on people's physical and mental health as well.
Evictions come in many forms. So you have an eviction where you didn't pay your rent, you've fallen behind. But on the fair housing side, there tend to be landlords and property management because you're asking for reasonable accommodation. A lot of landlords are not wanting to provide that, and they feel even if the tenant has the means of paying for it, they don't want to do the work. So they'll find a reason why they should evict them or end their lease early. So that's where I come in and explain what the Fair Housing Act is. I take them through those special steps to make sure that they're able to either get in their house or stay in their house.
We do have one program that is both for renters and homeowners that's accessibility modifications for residents with disabilities. So it's a really important program for residents who want to age in place, so older populations or younger folks with disabilities, to get those accessibility modifications, which may be ramps for stairs or roll-in showers and those sort of things. So it's a really great program. And there are also energy assistance programs as well that can help with folks who have high energy costs that need assistance with those bills as well. The sooner that residents can connect with those various resources, the more likely they're going to be to prevent the eviction and prevent having that eviction on their record.
There's also mediation that you can access as well. It's a situation where you can talk with a landlord, your representative, and see what kind of compromises you can come before it gets to the court process. You can work out a repayment plan, maybe reduce some of the overdue balances that are on your ledger.
Everything we do here is free. So we put in a lot of time. We have an education and outreach department. If you're wanting to know more about your fair housing right, please contact us.
Our partners often share success stories with us, and those stories are what keep us motivated to keep doing the hard work that we're doing. I want to make sure that residents know that denvergov.org/housing is a place that residents can go to get access to information on these resources and many, many others. The eviction process can be complicated, it can be confusing, and these resources are really there for residents to get access to information and the resources that can help prevent those negative impacts that we talked about earlier.
So I would tell you most of our ambassadors love to help people. They're a friendly face. Most of them love to travel, and they know what it's like to be in a different country or be in a new city and not know your way around. And they want to be that resource to help somebody find their way and be that friendly, welcoming face to Denver.
We have around 350 volunteers currently here at the airport that include our ambassadors, which is our wayfinding and information teams that are found mostly in our terminal, and then our Canine Airport Therapy Squad, which mingles with our guests out on the concourses.
So when newcomers arrive, typically many of them have never been in an airport, on an airplane. They don't speak the language. They're in a new, unfamiliar place. They've got all their worldly belongings and their family with them, oftentimes small children, and it's just really overwhelming. So to connect them with their resettlement agency partners or with the resources that they need for shelter is really important. Our team really does a great job of stepping in to be that welcoming face. They meet them at the arrival gate. They have language translation tools, be it signs that have pre-printed phrases, just making sure that we have all the people in the party, they have all their belongings, and then we whisk them away to meet their resettlement agency partners at the train exit.
When we talk about newcomers arriving at the city or here at the airport, it's really overwhelming. You don't know what they've experienced on their travels until they've gotten here, right? So sometimes they're tired. They might not have eaten anything since they've left wherever they've came from. So the true impact is making their day better, making their journey a little easier, being that welcoming face. The reward is in that personal response and the support that they can give someone of just being human, right? Sharing that experience and acknowledging that they've been through something.
And one particular morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, I saw a group of people. And it was adults, teenagers, and little children. But they were in awe. They were looking up, they were looking around, and it was as if they had never seen such a place as this. They approached me and they tried to ask me, where do I go? I don't know what to do. And it was because they spoke only Spanish. It took us a while, but I realized what it was that they needed.
Spanish, of course, is probably the #1 language that is spoken, second to English, of course, here at the airport. We have several other languages, particularly with the additional international flights we're seeing. A lot of people who speak French, German, Russian, Japanese, but we have language translation tools as well. So if somebody doesn't have a different language, that's okay. We provide the language line solution as well as other opportunities for people to use translation.
And when they told me goodbye, when they said, vaya con Dios, gracias, bless you, I knew that I had done what needed to be done as one of our ambassadors.
So we ensure that we're meeting expectations, right? That we're providing you with a volunteer experience that you're looking for here at the airport. Then they go through an orientation, policies, procedures, all of the things that we want you to know about the airport. And then we do training shifts, basically. So they will work hand in hand with multiple volunteers. And then beyond that, we support them throughout the year with trainings, how to use our translating tools. We give you everything that you need to be successful here. And then we let you take it and make it what you really want it to be and shoot for that above and beyond interaction with the passenger.
I help people from the little children up to even my senior compadres. And it is appreciated, not only for them, but it gives me a feeling on the inside that I am helping someone reach their journey.
We have a lot of great information on flydenver.com. So if you just navigate to the volunteer page, there is information about the program. There's also a link to outreach to our volunteer program manager, who will contact and discuss the program with the individual. We're always looking for great people, friendly, smiling faces who want to come help us at the airport.
I would say if you are looking for a fun, fast-paced environment where you can give your time to people coming and going from Denver, even represent the city and county of Denver in the state of Colorado, you get to have that impact, get to meet thousands of people from all over the world, then Denver International Airport is the place for you.
What I really find fascinating about it is that, every ice core we drill has a little bit of different information, but when you kind of zoom out and just look at the overall picture of what they tell us, every single ice core tells more or less the same story. So the big project that's been drilling ice in Antarctica for the last few years is a place called the Allen Hills Blue Ice Field. It's near the coast of Antarctica. They generally will load the ice that was drilled into these insulated boxes. From there, they put it into this container that's called a SafeCore container, and then a container ship will arrive at McMurdo. They'll load this container onto that ship, and it takes about a month and a half to go from McMurdo Station to a place out in California called Port Hueneme. Once it gets to Port Hueneme, they offload that container, put it onto a flatbed truck, and then they drive it out here to Denver. So it just left Port Hueneme yesterday morning, and it will be arriving here in about 30 minutes. I think one of my favorite quotes that I've heard is that the key to the present is understanding the past. And ice cores are just simply the best record of our past climate that we can go to really help understand sort of the user manual of how the Earth works naturally. And understanding that is incredibly important for this moment in time we're in, when humanity is actually and actively altering the climate in ways that we've never seen before. So we want to be as informed as possible about what effect we're having. And the ice cores give us a really good baseline to start with of the natural variations of Earth's climate. And with that information, hopefully we can use that to make policies moving forward to understand the impact of essentially what we're doing to the planet and how to mitigate that as best as possible.
An ice core is where we go to a glacier or an ice sheet, especially those in Greenland and Antarctica. And because there are layers of snow that form every year, they kind of form layers like tree rings. And we can drill a circular tube that goes down into the ice, capturing those layers, and that's what an ice core is.
There's actually a lot of really cool stuff that we can study these ice cores for, but really the main driving force is to understand our climate. The three main things we're trying to extract from these cores is a record of our atmospheric past. Because we have these ancient air bubbles of ancient atmosphere trapped in the ice, it's the only source on the planet we can go to get a direct measurement of, let's say, what carbon dioxide levels were like. long before people were around. We can also look at the stable isotopes that make up the water molecules of the ice itself as a temperature proxy to recreate how global temperatures have changed over these long periods of time. And then of course we have a variety of different methods of dating the ice cores so that we can kind of put all of this together and make a picture of essentially what the Earth has been doing and how our climate has naturally varied over time.
We are currently at the National Science Foundation Ice Core Facility, or ICF, and this is a repository managed by the United States Geographical Survey, where all of the ice cores that have been drilled by US researchers for the last several decades are kept in this big freezer warehouse. And it's also where cores are sent right when they're brought back from the field. So we have this space where they can be stored, they can be processed, and then they can be sent out to all the labs that need to analyze them and then brought back when they're done.
The National Science Foundation Ice Core Facility is kind of a hidden little gem here. It's in a nondescript warehouse on the Denver Federal Center. A lot of folks have no idea that this really important work is being done right in our backyard.
The freezers that we have here at ICF, the workroom where we do most of the actual processing of the ice is -25 Celsius, which is about -10 Fahrenheit. And then the storage room where all the cores are actually kept in like long-term storage, that is about -40 degrees, which is the same in Celsius and Fahrenheit. So when you walk into the freezer, it kind of feels like stepping into cold water, like you just jumped into a lake or something. It just hits your whole body, you feel it in your lungs. You walk in and you can feel the inside of your nose freeze. It's something that you want to be very prepared for. It gets very cold very quickly in a way that almost just makes your bones ache.
Every single ice core tells more or less the same story. And what that is that over these last 850,000 years, our planet has gone through these cycles of what we call glacial and interglacial periods. We'll see these periods of maybe 100,000 years or so where global temperatures are about 8 degrees cooler than we are right now, which for reference during those cold periods, places like New York City would have been under, in some cases, nearly a mile of ice. And then things warm up over time, and we'll have temperatures kind of like what they have been for the last several thousand years, and then that cycle will continue. So we see this warming and cooling of these natural cycles. And within that, we also see how greenhouse gases, specifically carbon dioxide and methane, sort of move in lockstep with those temperature changes. And the big thing that I think is a strong takeaway is that when we look at this history, we never see CO2 levels rise above about 300 parts per million. They usually bounce between about 200 during the cold periods and 300 parts per million during the warm periods. And as of this year, we're sitting around 425 parts per million of CO2. That increase happened pretty much since the Industrial Revolution. So the ice cores tell us what our past climate has been doing naturally, and that helps us inform what we're seeing now with human activity in terms of all of the excess carbon that we've put into the atmosphere and what that will potentially mean for the changing climate into the next decades and next centuries.
I think that that is both so fascinating from a scientific perspective that we have the ability now to learn what was going on with climate and with the Earth before humans were making records of those things. That's very useful in terms of understanding the planet and understanding what it's going to do in the future. Holding ice in your hands and knowing that it's hundreds of thousands of years old. It never stops being exciting to do this kind of work. The novelty never really wears off. I think that we're very fortunate to be able to do this work.
You're just a doggone diggity dog. You're just a doggone diggity dog.
I usually call Brutus my little weenie.
I'm all in like Team Wiener Dog. I think it's awesome. Kids love it and it's fun.
I personally like to say dachshund and weenie. Those are my two favorite pronouns.
Oh, they're smart, they're cunning, they're cool, they're lovable, they're feisty, they burrow, they're great to cuddle with in bed.
Hi, I'm Joey, and this is Cookie. She's my mini dachshund. And today we're here at Wash Park because we're at the Wash Park Weenie Meetup. it's a really fun group that you can join if you have your dachshund. You can bring them and they're able to socialize and play with all the other dogs, and you get to meet other people, and it's just really low-key. You come and let your dogs hang out with each other, and then we get to walk around the lake, and it's a really fun weenie parade. Everybody loves it.
I moved to Denver in 2008, and I had 2 other dachshunds at the time, Napoleon and Josephine, and I didn't have anywhere to socialize them. My dachshunds tend to get along best with other dachshunds, so I started Wash Park Weenies because I wanted to have a group near downtown Denver. Well, dachshunds are very spunky and they think they're very tough. They were bred to go after badgers, to go underground in their holes, so that's why they're long and skinny. And so they tend to be a little bit ferocious and suffer from the Napoleon syndrome a little bit.
Well, I support my wife, Rachel. She started the group when she moved up here with her little weenies, and she wanted to socialize them. And I said, sure, sounds like fun to me, and we've had a blast with it ever since.
I am here for the monthly Wiener Dog meetup, so my dog Arlo gets to make Wiener Dog friends. Well, I think for such small, spunky dogs, it's really great that they have an opportunity to practice confidence with other dogs their own size.
Well, it's really fun to see the different dachshunds grow up. So there's some dachshunds we've known since they were puppies and they still come to the group as adults, or some of our members are on their 2nd generation of dachshunds. We have a lot of great members who are super excited about having dachshunds, and they are really helpful with making recommendations for vets, for training, for adoption, or getting a new puppy. So it's just a really good supportive group if you want advice on your dachshund.
Well, I love seeing similar faces each month when we come. I also have brought in-laws and my parents here when they've been visiting, and I think it's just really fun and special to see wiener dogs, lots of wiener dogs all in one place. Like, it's just a unique experience. Arlo is 2 years old. He is very independent. He naps for about 16 hours a day, and there is not a soft chew toy that he doesn't destroy.
Well, we love dachshunds, and we think it's important to make sure that they're socialized and meeting other people that have the love for the breed like we do.
I think it's really great when we get to all walk around the lake and everybody else in the park is just in awe of this stream of these adorable little weenie dogs coming by.
Well, our very most popular meetup is our Halloweeny costume contest and walk. We have a really big turnout for that. This year, I think we had probably about 100 dachshunds come, all dressed up, a lot of their owners dressed up. That's our favorite. So we have a Facebook group, Wash Park Weenies. You can find it, and we're also on meetup.com by the same name.
It's about the contact you have with these people.
Here, it's like the time flies.
Mike, you guys still playing?
Yeah. Want to warm up?
Yeah, let's go.
You know, I think my reason for playing pickleball is because it has a sense of community, has a sense of belonging, has a sense of camaraderie. I would go to all these different kinds of, I don't know if you call them communities or places to access friendships, and I could never seem to connect. Because after a yoga class, everybody just splits, and everybody goes. Here, you keep coming back, you keep seeing the same people.
When I first lost my husband in South Carolina, pickleball was a way for me to interact with folks without having to deal with his death constantly. So I was able to leave that grief at the door. With pickleball, you develop a community, both small and large.
I'm a Denver firefighter, and 4 years ago my crew taught me how to play pickleball. With the job that I have, it's It's very stressful, and a lot of firefighters actually die from heart attack. I have to invest in my physical well-being and my emotional well-being, and I find connection with friends, and I'd run on the treadmill for an hour and it just felt like 6 hours. But then I'd come out on the pickleball court and I would play for 10 hours and it felt like 2. It was a no-brainer. My watch was saying, wow, you've maxed out your goal by 600%. Like, you know.
I love anything active, so to be able to be active for hours during the day on the weekend without having to plan much ahead of time. You also don't have to sign up usually. You can just show up I can show up at 11:15 or I can show up at 2:15 and stay for an hour or 3 hours. And then the social aspect of it too, being able to sit and chat with people. We get drinks after sometimes. Just show up, bring a smile, bring a paddle, and be ready to play.
It's such a positive environment. It's really incredible. I have so many good friends now because of it. I play with everyone, but I just like meeting new people. It's never like me versus you, it's us together and let's lift the boat.
We have an awesome community of pickleballers who love the sport. They love the social part of the sport. More and more people every day are finding this sport. It's very accessible for all ages. And so we have just a big and growing, very passionate group of people for whom pickleball is their #1 recreational choice right now.
I play pickleball because of the people I have met here.
I play pickleball because it makes me feel good.
I play pickleball because I really love the game.
I play pickleball because it's social, because it's physical, and because it's fun.
I play pickleball because my life depends on it.
I play pickleball because I love being outside, I love being active, and I love a little bit of competition in what I'm doing, and pickleball provides all of those things. I mean, I think our role on the recreation side of Parks and Recreation is to meet our residents where they are and where they want to recreate and provide those opportunities for people to be active, for them to have that social network, for them to get engaged and get fit in the ways that they want to. Anytime a sport grows as quickly as this is, then our #1 struggle is keeping up with the demand, having enough space for the number of people who want to play to be able to play. And so just getting court time inside, outside, anywhere in the metro area, and this is not unique to Denver, this is all across the country, has been a challenge. And that's frustrating, right? When you find something and you're like, oh, I really like this is a new social outlet for me, this is a new recreational and fitness outlet for me, and then you can't find a place to play, that's frustrating. We're working very hard, and even in a tough budget year, to increase courts as quickly as we can. Construction of courts does take a while, but we will be bringing on 6 additional courts this year, and we're in design on at least 8 more courts. We're going to see if we can bump that up even a little bit as we get further in the design to see the space between Lowry and Rosemont. That should come on next year, hopefully, if we can keep things moving as they are. It takes time. We can't build courts overnight, but Denver Parks and Recreation is committed to meeting this growing sport where it is and providing opportunities for players of all ages and of all abilities to find a place to play pickleball.
Don't be shy, just come and play.
Stay elevated by subscribing to the city's YouTube page for these stories and more. And stay tuned to our social media channels for more content. Don't miss our new episodes of Elevating Denver, premiering each month. Thanks for watching, Denver.